you guys want to, if you have questions, if you want to start lining up behind the microphone up here.
All at once.
Just talk. Oh my God.
How are we able to make those on a small budget? Like, did you have a lot of a budget, or?
Those are $1 million budgets. Yeah.
One was $2 million. It was all our money. I mean, we just, we had some.
All your money? You put all your money?
Everything I have. No, $8. No, I mean, Sean Becker and I just kind of had a lot of favors and free help and whatever, just our own expenses. We didn't really, that's how we made it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, so the budget of Legend of Neil was, Tony and I, when we first came up with that concept, we shot it on our own for $600 out of our own pocket, similar to what you guys are doing. And I made a sandwich. Yeah, it's true, so I guess you played an extra $10. So then we made that and put it online and got 500,000 hits on YouTube in less than a month. And then we took it around and pitched it to a lot of the people that have been pitching, previous television show ideas. And they were all like, "Oh, we don't really know you that well, and we like your stuff, but send us something else." This time around, we came with The Legend of Neil, which already had a fan base and already had people wanting more episodes. And then we walked out of, I went to 4 meetings and walked out of all 4 of those with offers. Because of, which I think was really a testament to the power of the internet and creating something, now we have the capability with these, digital cameras and to make stuff very, very cheap, stuff that we're passionate about, and is now getting respect in Hollywood. So, that's, I think, what the model in general, like you guys are kind of following, like, hey, let's just do this for not very much money, let's just pull together favors from people that we've, scratched backs with before, and create something, put it out there, and gain an audience, and then go and try to sell it. Is sort of the new model of how to do things. And so the budget ended up being for The Legend of Neil, and I can't give the exact number, but it was below 20,000 an episode, pretty cheap by TV standards. Those are usually like $500,000 per episode. So still got to be smart with your money, but anyway, pretty girl, you say something.
I'm also short, so this is difficult. What is your favorite part of the process when it comes to like any of the things that you've been involved with episodes? Like, is it the acting, the writing, the shooting? What is it that you would say is your favorite part?
Tony sandwiches. Tony sandwiches are really good.
Your mom's lasagna was very good.
Yeah.
And Alex's uncle's pasta. I said,
Not like a lasagna, but yeah.
I should have said something totally different than lasagna, but I said pasta. Oh, I think that's.
Personally, for the stuff I've done with Sandeep and for Neil, I think a lot of it was the writing, because we were so much more ambitious when we wrote every season. By the time we got to shooting it, there's a lot of things we couldn't afford or do. So I thought the writing was the most fun because it was off the set, nostalgia from Zelda, finding ways to incorporate that into the storyline. I had a lot of fun.
I love the acting. Even though with the Guild there's sometimes these huge monologues, it still to me is the least stressful and the most social. It gets lonely doing other parts of it, but when you're with a group of people, it's just trying to be funny in front of the camera. It's pretty fun.
I want to say directing, just because that hasn't been said yet. Sorry, man. I guess you can do craft services. Yeah, to me, directing, it is truly the thing that I love the most. Acting is fun. I like improvising with these blokes, but in general, when you're directing, I just think that you're so engaged in every part of the process. There's nothing that you're not responsible for on set, and really, it's your job to lead this team of however many people you have, 5, 10, and on Legend of Neil we have sometimes 40, 50 person crew, and So you're just kind of constantly problem solving. It's not just like, hey, let's figure out let me talk to this actor and deal with their problem and make sure that they're in a good place to act well. Yeah, Tony has lots of douchey issues. He's a huge prima donna. No, that's not true at all. But you're dealing with actors, you're dealing with the lighting guys, you're dealing with when the fog machine breaks, like you gotta. I mean, it's not necessarily up to you to fix it, but you're like, okay, crap, how do we problem solve that? And can we shoot this first? And you're just constantly figuring out ways to make it happen. And that's to me the most exciting.
Yeah, I would say too, one of the things that I find really fun, maybe not my favorite thing, but nobody's talked about, is I really love the sort of business side of it. I don't know why, but I really love walking into a room and trying to convince someone to give me money. And I'm horrible at it. I fail most of the time. But it's like, there's something about that, being able to like meet these executives who don't find themselves in this position of something that they don't really understand. They know it's valuable. They want it, but they don't know how to do it. And so coming in as sort of like these punk kids, I mean, now none of us are kids anymore, but like when we started doing Dig Nation, which we've been doing for 6 years, I was like early 20. I mean, I was just a punk kid, and especially back then when nobody knew what was going on with the web. And I'm in LA, and I'd have meetings at NBC Universal like 5 years ago, and I was like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, and that stuff to me is always really fun because it also offers a unique sort of creative conundrum. Alliteration poorly. Because a lot of times they'll go, well, this is the stuff that we want, here's where we have all the money, do you have anything like that? And the answer is usually, nah, not really, because you come up with like the one idea that you love, and you're high-fiving, and then you go into the room, and you're like, hey, it's great. And they're like, well, we were like something with Barbies, and it's sort of this fun little puzzle of being like, how do I make something that's fun, that I can get behind, that I get excited about, that I can convince other people to enjoy it, that's about something that I'm not really 100%, that's my thing. So we always have fun sort of like sitting around trying to figure out how I can take quick money and make fun stuff with it.
Right. Yeah. And you only need one person to say yes, so you can get.
Oh yeah.
Just gotta get used to rejection. That's all.
Okay.
Go ahead, you with the glorious contacts.
I was going to say, in the writing process, is it something that's kind of a broad idea that you write down, or do you have something specific when you start?
Well, I guess it's different per project, really. My writing process is greatly influenced by improv, in the sense that I do a lot of improv. That's kind of how that's how I got into the industry. That's how I got into acting, was going to improv classes. And so whenever I write, I sort of know that I'm going to, especially if I'm writing something that I know that I have control over casting, I'm going to hire people that are great improvisers. So I sort of view the script as a blueprint. I mean, we always get what's on the script. It's always important to, make sure you're going to get something that in the editing room you're going to be able to cut together that's going to make sense. But at the same time, I know I got these guys that are just and gals, and folks like Felicia Day, and who are just such gifted improvisers that I know they're going to give me so much more than what I even wrote. And so to me, it's not the letter of the word is law. It's really like let's all follow this guideline, and then let's all play together on set and see what we come up with.
I don't remember the question anymore.
That was the answer.
Okay.
That was the answer.
Next question. So it's like
Start with an idea. Did you start with an idea? That
Oh, I was,
started
okay, now I know what I was.
Yeah, remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
I keep, I never sit down to write a sketch that I don't have, like I'll go Post-its in my car, and I'll just, with sketch, I'll just have an idea, and I'll write it down and Post-it, and then I kind of go back and do it, but I've never been able to sit down and write something from scratch.
Like Post-it notes?
I'll have
All your
Post-it
scripts
notes
are just
next to my
tiny
bed.
Post-it notes?
Yes. I text in my bed, in my car. I daydream a lot. My mind wanders, which is good or bad, depending on if you're driving next to me. And that's where, I'll just suddenly, by this film strip, my head will roll, and I'll pull over, and I'll write it all down, and then that's when I sit down. But I've never sat down at a blank slate and said, okay, I need an idea.
You let ideas hit you.
Yeah, I have notebooks full with it, and some are awful, or I wake up in the middle of the night and in the morning, and say, the guy eats a table whole. I'll skip
Sounds
that.
hilarious.
Yeah. Maybe I should have written it.
Maybe you'll cast me.
And it also depends on what the project is, because we've done a couple branded shows, so we had some rules we had to follow going into it. It had to be, we did a show called Suite 7, it had to stay in a hotel room, and the bed had to play a key part because the people that paid for it were the Better Sleep Council, go figure. So there we already had sort of some guidelines to follow. But with other ones, like with Neil, he came up with the idea of this asshole being in the game, and then from there you're able to kind of just go with it.
Yeah, I think there was another branded web series that we did that was for Trident. And they were like, make a show about gum. And yeah, Alex was in that, yeah. And then we ended up making these two guys go on a road trip to get Felicia Day to be in their script. Like that's what it was all about. And all they had was their wit and guile and year supply of Trident.
And each episode we had to find a way for gum to be used in some way.
It's gum.
They end up getting, at one point they get like, it's a spy film, and they get like abducted by vampires and they have to mold gum into steaks and kill them. It's
You can probably watch it online.
you might be able to watch it online, yeah, it's pretty good, but it's also like so product, like tried it in every sentence.
Trident is
damn
bad.
good gum, though. Actually, the Trident players go, I'm not just saying that because they're still paying me. You see
Yeah, Trident is watching.
So first of all, let's say thank you to all you guys, very entertaining, so thank you for the hours that you're doing.
You're welcome,
Thank
thank
you.
you for watching.
The question I have is, with the internet, it's great how all these independent artists can create and get it to the masses. We see musicians doing it, we've seen comics, now we're seeing with the video as well. One of the complaints I've heard some of those people mention is that they feel like they get pulled in many directions at once, like that to be a jack of all trades. Like somebody who can draw really well, but they don't feel like they can manage their finances, and yet because they're working for themselves, they're having to do all that. So I'm just kind of curious, do you guys ever just wake up in the morning and say, I just wish I could just act, I could just go in and be an actor, I didn't have to do all these other things, or do you enjoy being a jack of all trades?
That's a great question, and I think it totally varies for me. Like there are days that I wake up and I'm like, what do I do today now? Oh gosh, I have to write the end of this sketch and then edit this and and also run my lines for the guild, and yeah, it does end up kind of pulling your brain in 50 different directions. But what's nice what I try to do is go real project based. Like, okay, well, this is my next project, and then I'm going to focus 100% on that project and get that to completion before I jump on the next thing. Unfortunately, with web, you don't make a ton of money, so you do have to find ways to juggle. At the end of last year, when we were making that Suite 7 thing, I was doing that Suite 7 thing, finishing up Legend of Neo, which was the most ambitious season we'd ever shot. It was our final season, and doing a Chevy commercial, directing a Chevy commercial, which was cool, but it was also like I was working literally 20 hours a day, and I was just absolutely exhausted. And then 3 months, like I had this whole like postpartum depression when Neil was over for 3 months, where I just like lay in waste from that like horrific month of October. Also because Tony was getting married, my brother was getting married. It was just insane. That's my life, guys. You can read about it on the blog. But yeah, no, that's yeah. I don't know what to say. It's tough. There's a jack of all trades aspect to it that kind of can be hellish, but also awesome.
Yeah, I like it all. I have friends that are just actors, and I don't know what they do all day.
Yeah.
Because it can be just a matter of sitting and waiting for the phone. I mean, it's so good to just do something during the day and keep busy creatively. I think everybody should.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just get totally, it's so funny how everything kind of goes in waves. A lot of times I like the certain things, like when I do like guest spots on your guys' show, it's nice to just sort of show up and there's no responsibility. Barely know your lines, because, I mean, what are they going to yell at you? You know what I mean? Yeah, it's like, I get a sandwich, and then they're going to be like, oh, the line is
Delicious Tony sandwich.
yeah, the delicious Tony sandwich. So there is sort of like this like nice, like relaxed walk on set, everybody's crazy, and you're just kind of like sitting there having a coffee. But careers go, it's so, because it's such a project base and because you really need to kind of keep stringing together, because one of the things that's interesting about the internet is if all of the shows that you do stop, a whole bunch of people are making shows that fill that gap, and nobody knows who you are anymore, and it's harder to get the gigs. You know what I mean? Like, so you got to kind of keep feeding the beast, but it does go in these ways.
You're
where
the beast.
I think the beast is a metaphor for hunger. No, it's horrible, because it was actually kind of apropos. But no, so you get to this thing where like you got projects and they kind of come to ends, and then all of a sudden you literally don't have anything to do for 4 days in a row, and it gets really infuriating because you just like, and then you get down, you drink a lot. Literally, this is what happened. It's on my blog, and Sandeep's because we drink together. But no, you get to that thing where you're like get depressed because you don't have something going on, and it's because you're burning at such a high level just because you're constantly doing things because nobody else is there to do those things for you. You get used to that kind of heightened stress, and then when you just sort of chillax and playing a video game, it's like I gotta do something. So Jack Daniels would be good.
Be an alcoholic.